Hello, my name is Pastor Kris Kollar. I'm the pastor of Pleasant Valley Lutheran Church near Malabar Farm State Park and St. Paul Lutheran Church in Lucas, Ohio. Greetings. We're reading through the Bible with commentary. We're in the book of Proverbs, and we're up to Proverbs chapter 27. So we only have about 3 more chapters of Proverb, and then we have 2 kind of wrap-up chapters, and then we'll be on to the next book. So we're up to chapter 27, and it's full of the same kind of as we've been having pithy, true sayings, often of which can be taken more than one way, many of which compare and contrast wisdom versus foolishness, righteousness versus wickedness. And we still have a lot of these one-verse sayings that we have for today. The very first one I think is fabulous. Chapter 27, verse 1. Do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring. And of course, that doesn't mean, well, tomorrow I plan to do this. Yes, we plan. But you have to be careful about, well, I'm going to go do this, and I'm going to go do that. And then your car breaks down or something else happens, and no, we don't go do that thing. But I think it's less about the immediate of tomorrow and more like, oh, this big picture, I'm going to do this. Well, maybe. But we never know what a day might bring. We've had other verses in past Proverbs, such as we humans make decisions and we make our plans, but the Lord determines our steps. And it's along the same idea. You never know what a day may bring. Verse 2, let another praise you and not your own mouth, a stranger and not your own lips. And of course, it is very easy to brag about what we know about ourselves, that I did this well and I did that well, but it never looks well. Like it's, it doesn't mean false modesty, but it also doesn't mean walk around saying how awesome you are. Let somebody else do it, and it carries a lot more weight when other people say how awesome you are. And of course, it's very hard when you're like, but why is nobody telling anybody how awesome I am? Still, don't be tempted. Let other people praise you. Let your actions praise you, but do not let your own mouth praise you. It just doesn't look good. It's tempting, though. It's always very tempting. Verse 3, a stone is heavy and sand is weighty, but a fool's provocation is heavier than both. Ooh, so a fool's provocation is very, very heavy. Like literally at lunch, I was having a conversation talking about how heavy dirt and sand are, and that if you're in a pit and there's a collapse and you suffocate and you get crushed very quickly because the dirt and the sand are very heavy, and people don't recognize how heavy they are and how unstable they are and how dangerous it is to build a pit like a trench in the beach and then lay in the trench. Not safe, because sand is weighty and a stone is heavy, but fool is even heavier. Verse 4, wrath is cruel, anger is overwhelming, but who is able to stand before jealousy? And I have to admit, if I have a choice between somebody being mad at me or somebody being jealous of me, it feels like it's a lot easier to deal with somebody else's anger than with their jealousy. And what do you even do with that? Verse 5, better is open rebuke than hidden love. So if you love somebody, you sometimes have to give them correction, even a rebuke. But if you should not hide your love, but also if you love somebody, sometimes you might have to speak words of truth, hopefully with kindness. Truth should never be without kindness. Then I read this wonderful quote. It's kind of a proverb also. Honesty without compassion is brutality. But we should still be honest. We should just combine our honesty with kindness. And here they are equating a rebuke with love. Better an open rebuke than hidden love. Verse 6, well meant are the wounds a friend inflicts. So similar idea, if a friend says something that you don't want to hear and it hurts you, but it was meant for a good, your friend loves you and cares about you and speaks up enough to speak the truth. But profuse are the kisses of an enemy. So a friend might say something you don't want to hear and you don't like very much, but an enemy, it's all kisses and all sweetness, but actually it's all not good. Verse 7, the sated appetite spurns honey, but to a ravenous appetite, even the bitter is sweet. So the modern equivalent of that, I think, is hunger is the best sauce. You're not sure if you want to eat something, then maybe you're not hungry. But if you are hungry, it doesn't matter what it is, you'll eat it. And it tastes amazing because you're starving. Verse 8, like a bird that strays from its nest is one who strays from home. Aw. Verse 9, perfume and incense make the heart glad, but the soul is torn by trouble. The Greek has it, the sweetness of a friend is better than one's own counsel. That is quite the variation on which of those is original. We don't know. Verse 10, do not forsake your friend or the friend of your parent. Do not go to the house of your kindred in the day of calamity. Better is a neighbor who is nearby than kindred who are far away. So that's all one verse, verse 10. But the idea that when you're having the day of calamity, because we all have the day of calamity, we all have hard days and days when things go wrong and the car breaks down. And what do? And it's better a friend nearby than family far away. And yes, we have family and we rely on family, but we also have friends and our parents' friends that we can rely on as well. And when the car breaks down and you need a ride, who do you call? You call the one that's closer, physically closer, not the one that's blood relative. Verse 11, be wise, my child, and make my heart glad, so that I may answer whoever reproaches me. Oh, does that not sound like a parent? And I just want my children to do well and to be employed and to not be embarrassing so that I could be like, oh, my children are this and my children are that. And it's very self-centered, very selfish, but still also very common to parents that we want our children to not be an embarrassment. And so be wise and make my heart glad, my child, so that I can answer whoever reproaches me. Verse 12, the clever see danger and hide, but the simple go on and suffer for it. So to see the danger coming and to take the steps to prepare and to avoid the danger is wise. Verse 13, take a garment of one who has given surety for a stranger, seize the pledge given as surety for foreigners. So surety means you're guaranteeing somebody's loan. And if you're going to guarantee somebody's loan for a stranger or for somebody who's not even part of your community, they're saying just go ahead and take the thing that you're putting up for pledge. Just go ahead and take it straight up, because that person is not going to keep that. They're not going to repay the loan. This one is always fun. Verse 14, so chapter 27, verse 14, whoever blesses a neighbor with a loud voice rising early in the morning will be counted as cursing. And I think there's always those cases where people wake up and they're super chipper. They're like, oh, good morning, hello. And people come into work, oh, and the other one's like, oh, good morning. The person who's, is going to take the other person as cursing them. And they're like, shut up. We don't want to hear that. It will be counted as cursing if you bless the neighbor with a loud voice early in the morning. So, and I am a person who's all very chipper and cheerful, but I try to be sensitive to the people who are not awake yet. Verse 15, a continual dripping on a rainy day and a contentious wife are alike. To restrain her, verse 16, to restrain her is to restrain the wind or to grasp oil in the hand. Although it says the meaning of the Hebrew is uncertain. But, and I'm going to again say wife or husband, a contentious spouse. It is no fun to live, and it's like a constant drip on a rainy day where it's just drip, 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 and it's just annoying and difficult to deal with. Verse 17, the one that I named this session after, iron sharpens iron, and one person sharpens the wits of another. And again, another footnote that it's the face of another. But the idea, iron sharpens iron. So how do you sharpen an iron thing? You rub it up against another iron thing and it makes it sharp. And what happens when you take people and you rub the people together in a marriage relationship or siblings or even co-workers? You rub up against each other and sparks fly and it hurts, but we also sharpen each other and help us to become better people. Marriage is not easy, but when we are married, we absolutely rub up against each other and we cause each other to grow and change and get sharper in ways that we never would if we were single. So a verse from 30 years ago, I belonged to a group of churches and they love this verse. Iron sharpens iron. And that would apply to housemates and friends and spouses and co-workers and anybody you're having a hard time getting along with. Then they would tell you, well, iron sharpens iron. And you are going to become a better person because you are in that relationship with that person. Verse 18, anyone who tends a fig tree will eat its fruit, and anyone who takes care of a master will be honored. So take care of a fig tree, get the fruit, take care of your master, get honor, and get taken care of probably. Verse 19, just as water reflects the face, so one human heart reflects another. That's an interesting proverb. As water reflects the face, so one human heart reflects another. I'm not even sure how you would apply that. Verse 20, Sheol and Abaddon are never satisfied, and human eyes are never satisfied. So the grave, death is never satisfied. Always everybody gets to go there. But also the human eyes, we always say, oh, well, I want that. Well, I want, I have this wonderful blessed life with all kinds of wonderful blessings until I see somebody who has something I don't have. And I'm like, I think I want that. We're just never satisfied, are we? Verse 21, the crucible is for silver and the furnace is for gold. So a person, and we have added words not in the Hebrew, is tested by being praised. So the original, so a person by being praised. The silver for silver, the furnace is for gold, so a person is tested by being praised. I was thinking about this before I started reading this proverb. Like, what does that even mean? And I do agree that when we get praised, it tests us and it exposes things in us. So if you take silver and you put it in a crucible, you heat it up so it becomes liquid, and then there's all of these impurities in the silver that come to the surface and burn off, and you say, oh, these. So as we are praised, it's like putting silver in a crucible. It exposes what else is in there besides the silver. And as I get praised, then I discover, oh, there's a little bit of pride, or oh, there's a little bit of self-centeredness, or oh, it's in there, and I don't even know that it's in there until somebody praises me, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm still pretty self-centered. Yeah, I'm still pretty proud. And being praised is like putting silver in a crucible. It exposes a lot about me. Verse 22, crush a fool and a mortal with a pestle along with crushed grain, but the folly will not be driven out. So if you have somebody who's foolish, you should crush them, but it won't help. The folly will not go out. Verse 23, know well the condition of your flocks and give attention to your herds. Verse 24, for riches do not last forever, nor a crown for all generations. So this idea, actually, I think there's all of these verses. I'm going to go back and do these two verses because I think it's really 5 verses that go together. But before I read them, to talk about the idea of paying attention, in this case they say flocks and herds. What was wealth back in Bible times? It was owning a large flock or a large herd. What is wealth for us today? And what does that mean to pay attention to what we have? So it might mean balancing your checkbook and keeping track of where your money's going, which is a tedious, boring job, or at least I find it so. But when I keep track of what's going on with my money, then I'm like, oh, the bank made this mistake, or I made, more likely, the bank doesn't, I make some mistake. Or if your credit card gets stolen, if you pay attention to your money, then you realize, hey, that's not my charge. Where did that come from? You can see that a lot sooner. And it used to be I never did my taxes until April 14th. And part of the reason was because I needed to enter in all of my data for the full year. And I would enter the data, and then 6 months after something had happened, I'd be like, why is the bank charging me this thing? And I would be calling either the bank or some utility or some other entity and saying, hey, why do I have this charge? Well, yeah, we started charging you that 6 months ago. I'm like, well, you shouldn't be charging me this. And then they'll say, well, we can take away one, but not all 5 months. I'm like, if I would pay attention, then that wouldn't have happened to me and I would have realized. So that's, I think, the application of the verse that I'm about to reread. And it's really 5 verses together, and it's the end of the chapter. Verse 23, know well the condition of your flocks, and give attention to your herds. 24, for riches do not last forever, nor a crown for all generations. 25, when the grass is gone, and new growth appears, and the herbage of the mountains is gathered. 26, the lambs will provide for your clothing, and the goats the price of a field. 27, there will be enough goat's milk for your food, for the food of your household, and the nourishment for your servant girls. So the idea that you pay attention to your herds and flocks. Riches don't last forever. Crowns do not last for all generations. If you don't keep track, it will slip away from you. And a modern version is you'll get charges that you don't even realize you're getting charged. And how do you correct them if you don't pay attention to your bank account? And I think it applies even to other things, like if you have a house, you have to maintain the house. If you have a car, you have to get your oil changed. And if you don't have your oil changed, your engine blows up and now you have no car. So we have to pay attention to the things that we have, our herds and our flocks, our bank accounts, our houses, our cars, the things. They take a lot of attention, but if you want to maintain them, you have to pay attention to them. But then when you pay attention to them, then you're rewarded with having grass that's gathered, lambs with wool for clothing, goats that provide provide money, goat's milk. You get the income, you get the blessings, you have a house that doesn't fall down, a car that doesn't blow up, and a checking account that doesn't get charged to random things that you shouldn't be charged for. So pay attention to your stuff. So that was chapter 27, and I feel like I did an awful lot of commentary all the way through. Iron sharpens iron. Relationships are hard, but they're good. We need to pay attention to our stuff, and who knows what's going to happen tomorrow, so don't be bragging about it too much. And now may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord look at you with favor and give you peace. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Go in peace. Like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you again next time.